Scope creep in project management is continuous or uncontrolled growth in our project scope, generally experienced after the project begins. So yeah, here's my game. It has 5,000 characters, a full new story mode and collection mode with a bajillion matches, and everyone has their own skill tree, and don't forget the online tournament, and we're bringing back mechanics here and there, and this is new, and that's new, and oh my god, it's been a decade and we're not done yet! Following a game company is like gambling or sports betting. You back the one with your favorite name or your favorite game and hope to god they don't f**k up. Now I'm no sports bettor or horse racer, and I'm also very unlucky. Last time I went to the casino, I made $2, and then I lost $62. But luck has to turn around eventually, so I'm placing all my bets on one company that I think is going places. Straight to hell. Level-5 is a pretty cool company. They make games I like, they make characters I like, they've made a couple of my favorite franchises, they put out games. So where are the games? Akihiro Hino, CEO of Level-5 since 1998, dude, take me off this wild ride! Level-5 was a company that was crushing it in the 2000s and early 2010s. Between original IPs and working with companies like Square Enix and Namco, they were on top of their game. They had a steady sequence of releases, a solid breadth of IPs, and one CEO who always gave a f**k, working 42-hour days to put out products. What's this? Their success came to a peak in the mid-2010s, with Yokai Watch becoming a smash hit, damn near a cultural phenomenon in Japan. Sold like butt overseas, but in Japan, Level-5 was on top. But they couldn't keep that momentum forever. As the 2010s rolled on, they found themselves in a rut. Their games weren't performing, and with Yokai Watch performing worse and worse, and production on other games struggling, it got to the point where they were shutting down some of their overseas branches. For a while there, it seemed like they might be done. Domestically, they still had a few projects they were putting out, but none of them made that big of a splash, and whenever Dregs did leave Japan, nobody cared. But then, things started to change. In the February 2023 Nintendo Direct, Level-5 announced, games! 3 whole new video games. Holy sh**, dude. Level-5 was back in the public consciousness. People were keeping eyes on them outside of just Inazuma fans who've been waiting 7 years for their game. This was a big statement. Level-5 was back, and they were swinging. This was going to be a whole new era for their company. Yeah, I see my mistake. At the February 2023 Level-5 Vision, because every company rides the Nintendo Direct Express, they had trailers for Deca Police, Fantasy Life I, Megaton Musashi Wired, Professor Layton in the New World of Steam, and Inazuma 11 Victory Road. A really solid lineup of titles. They just needed more info and release dates. They got more info. No hard release dates, but that's not the worst thing. There's still plenty of time to iron out. Fast forward a year and a half, and most of them had some sort of delay, except Megaton Musashi, which came out. Did you know it came out? No, you didn't. They never advertised it. In the September 2024 Level-5 Vision, they announced that all of these games were getting delayed to 2025 and beyond. What the f*** happened here? They came out swinging in 2023 like they were hot shit again, and now it seems like the only hot shit is what they were doing to the bed. Okay, clearly the games just were too early and weren't playable yet, right? No! Sans Layton, every game has been playable or had working gameplay in some form previously. Fantasy Life looked done enough, but that got delayed to 2025. Deca Police looked like it had a whole area finished and clear vision, but it got delayed to 2026. Jesus! Inazuma 11 Victory Road had a beta launch in March 2024 that is still ongoing, yet it got delayed to June of 2025. Whoops! Why are these games taking so long? If there's one thing I've learned from years of being terrorized by this man, Akihiro Hino is a creator who wants to have his cake and eat it too. And he wants that cake to be twice as big as he thought. And a second cake on top of that. And a second cake literally on top of that first cake. And before he's halfway through that first cake, he's gotta have an extra ice cream cake. The final boss of this damn company is an over-ambitious perfectionist. On one hand, he takes feedback for his games, which is always good. On the other hand, how does this happen? Deca Police was originally slated for a 2023 release. The trailer and the Tokyo Game Show demo both had pretty good reception. 3 years? How? From what we know about Deca Police, one of their goals was to make an open world of an unprecedented size for a Level-5 game. Their biggest game yet, for the 3rd time. After getting a ways into working in it, they probably thought, damn, this is kind of a lot. Then after getting feedback from TGS, Hino saw some minor complaints or requests and said, guys, I have 50 new ideas. And ChatGPT's got 50 more. He's a higher up in a Japanese company, so what are they gonna say, no? A year and a half later, cue an incomprehensible mess of a trailer, 2026, woohoo, buy your games! What game? Dang it. Fantasy Life I, after the trials and tribulations and firing Keiji Inafune, is the first game to finally come out. I don't have faith in it. I haven't played the original, but for a game that was as big as it was when it first came out, the sequel seems to not be making any waves whatsoever. The marketing for it has been pretty abysmal, with only a few trailers and Nintendo Directs and elsewhere, but none of them gathering any sort of buzz whatsoever. As more of an outsider who's interested in buying it, none of the trailers have convinced me that the game is going to be that fun to play. The game looks over-bloated and over-ambitious to the point where it doesn't seem like everything they're doing is gonna gel together in a way that seems very satisfying. And to be honest, when this game first came out, that mix of Animal Crossing, Harvest Moon, and RPG elements was super novel, but in current year, it's a dime a dozen. Half the indie scene is just these games. Most indie devs make 3 kinds of games, and this is one of them. In the modern gaming climate, this kind of game just doesn't really stick out when there's so many alternatives. They haven't done a good job at making people like me who didn't play the original give a flying f, and people who did play the original, their f***s are flying over to Animal Crossing and Stardew Valley. I don't think this game is gonna do that well. But if you want to talk scope creep, nothing is more scopier creepier than Inazuma 11 Victory Road. This is probably their current most important project, not because it's gonna sell gangbusters, God knows the series isn't that big, but because this is a game 9 years in the making. The history and my personal pain with this one is a whole tale. I've been waiting so long, I think God would break me before this dude does. But in a sentence, this is a game Hino is making to appease the fans' long wait, and he wants it to be the ultimate Inazuma 11 experience. I think it's hit a point where that vision is becoming to its detriment, because each new feature doesn't get me hype anymore, I just want the game. The September 2024 trailer showed off a bunch of new stuff, like a character creator, a town builder where you can invite your friends, every character is getting a skill tree, and the previous 4,000 character roster has been expanded to a 5,000 character roster. And don't forget the f***ing football manager mode. Never call this dude Santa, because he is not delivering presents and he does not know how to rein it in. Waiting for this game is painful, because it feels like with each significant step towards getting to the game, Hino adds 2 more steps. I'm sure these additions are as cool to somebody, but this is all frankly pointless nonsense that could wait until after the game comes out. This is the modern age. Games launch with 0.001% of all this bullshit and everybody loves it, right? This game feels potentially overstuffed with the amount of features and mechanics, bloating the game to please every person who could possibly care. God alone knows what else he wants to add to leave an impact on this game. He said they might bring back all this garbage. I might go insane if he lets all this chaos break free into this game, dude. I always figured Victory Road would have been just fine with just the story mode, Chronicle mode with the old characters, and multiplayer. With the game getting delayed a million, bajillion, corillion, gazillion times, at some point I start to question all the extra crap they're putting in. Did we need a character creator? Did we need a football manager mode? Did we need Keshins to come back? Did we need some poor dev to not see their family so they could work on increasing Reina's boob size? Prob's not, but they made Endo dark again, so that's some silver lining. At least they're laser focused on finishing this game. Lie to me one more time, Hino! 5 unfinished projects seems like a lot. What's 2 more? Let me tell ya, seeing Inazuma 11 Secret Project felt less like a present and more like a threat. What do you mean there's another game? Finish the first game! Oh snap, a remake! Oh snap, I hate this! Inazuma 11 Re is a remake of the first game from 2008, and it looks like hot dog shit. Your crimes will not be forgiven. You're okay though. The lead is going for a style mimicking the original sprites in the DS game, but they missed the mark completely. Instead of cute sprites, they all look like some weird messed up bobbleheads, and they have this completely soulless look to them. The game has this super ugly default Unity looking lighting that's so overexposed, it makes the game look even worse. And it's even Worse in motion, look at Kazumaru's paper ass hair. Maybe worst of all, the gameplay looks so flaccid too with these animations. And the special move animations are the same ones as in Victory Road. The same ones from 2008. What are we doing here? The nice part of having a game with all the characters is that you can just reuse all the models for future projects. Why make a bunch of new ones, especially if they're gonna look so icky? Remakes are a whole thing. Sometimes you want a one-to-one recreation, sometimes you want something balls to the walls different. Inazuma 11 is not a game that should have a one-to-one remake. Not only would a perspective and gameplay change make it feel more fresh, it would let them reuse the framework and assets from Victory Road, which makes way more sense than doing everything from scratch while they're hemorrhaging funds. And for what? What else can I say? It looks abysmal. The only good looking part are their portraits. They're animated really nicely, and they're a nice middle ground between the OG art style and the more modern designs. But holy shitballs, I haven't retched this hard at a trailer since Byleth and Smash. The game is coming out in 2026. I think they're allergic to releasing games. So maybe the lighting or texture work could improve, but the main issue is the art style, and that's not getting fixed. That's the intent. The intent just sucks. Hino, lie to me one more time. Ah! Holy Horror Mansion, Yokai Watch spiritual successor, most ambitious project to date, Level 5. I mean, I don't call my sessions after eating too much buffalo chicken dip an ambitious project, but we can all say whatever. Along with my vomit inducer, they revealed their big brand spanking new project, Holy Horror Mansion, a spiritual successor to Yokai Watch, and it looks like decomposed dog shit. I've been getting into vomiting lately. These are really helping. Holy Horror Mansion should be studied as a what not to do when announcing a new IP. Outside of Layton, Yokai Watch is easily their biggest IP, and it's been years since the last proper entry in Japan. And outside Japan, yeah. So with Layton on the way, the thing people would want the most is a new Yokai Watch, and Holy Horror Mansion is decidedly not that. But it's also a tiny bit that. Yokai Watch fans got really upset when they showed something that was so kinda sorta a bit close maybe I think. And while it's usually not fair to complain about getting thing B when you wanted thing A, they really wanted to compare it to thing A. They weren't helping themselves here. Especially when they described the game in such a hard to understand way. What the f is this game? This trailer is so confusing. Outside of it being a monster collector of sorts, it's so unclear what happens in this game. I feel the most important thing to illustrate in a concept trailer is what the concept of the gameplay entails at all. From how they showed it, it seemed more like a trailer for a tool or even a show than a video game. There were maybe 3 seconds of footage that showed maybe something resembling a battle system, and that is in the loosest of terms. I'd sooner believe this is the weird f***ed up new freaky forms than a Yokai Watch. The character animation did look great though, and I think the game could be a fun time. But when all you have to show are sloppy AI backgrounds and an inclusion that's 8 years too late, I can't pretend I'm very interested. Ironic this was in a level 5 vision, because level 5, I don't see the vision. I don't immediately want to spend my hard-earned money on this game, which means I can just check out the tie-in anime! Level 5 has been making cross-media projects for a long time. They did it with Inazuma 11, they did it with Yokai Watch, they did it with Danbao Senki aka LBX, they did it with Yokai Watch, they did it with Snack World, they did it with Yokai Watch, they did it with Megaton Musashi, they did it with Yokai Watch. It's a tradition. They aren't ever satisfied with just a hit game. They want to hit everything. And that is continuing with both Deca Police and Holy Horror Mansion. Deca Police is getting an anime, and Holy Horror Mansion is going to be their biggest cross-media project ever. That's fine and dandy, but here's the thing about Level 5 cross-media projects. They're on a massive losing streak right now. Since Yokai Watch in 2014, they have not had a hit when it comes to their game promoting anime. To hype up Yokai Watch, they ended the main series run and started Shadow Side, a sequel series starring Natsume, Keita's daughter, and her friends as they investigate and solve yokai-related incidents. It was being billed as a more mature take on the franchise, hopefully trying to get a new audience into the series and get them on the new game on the very successful Nintendo Switch. Didn't work. The game sold only okay, which for Yokai Watch standards was pretty bad, and the series ended after 49 episodes, immediately followed up on by Yokai Watch exclamation point, which went back to the slice of life gag format. Shadowside was a noble attempt, but completely failed at his main goal, and in practice, wasn't really different enough from the main series to feel warranted. Didn't help that it wasn't very good. Megaton Musashi also had an anime to promote the game series. Being a new IP, there was a little more riding on the anime's shoulders to be a success and promote the game. With 2 seasons and a story fully told, it also didn't really work. It left no impact, and the game sold like ass, even in the region where they give a shit about giant robots. Didn't help that it wasn't very good. But their biggest failure in the cross-media space would have to be with Inazuma 11. In 2016, Level-5 announced Inazuma 11 Aries, the new project in the series with all the fixings. The game, anime, toys, a trading card, multiple manga, the works. Problem is, the game did not come out. Everything else associated with it came out. The toys, licenses with the NFC support that was planned for the game, 2 out of 3 of the manga, the Nosaka one got cancelled, the anime, and a sequel to that anime, and even an American English dub of that first anime. But when the focal point of the cross-media project never actually comes out, the whole thing kinda falls apart. Didn't help that it was not that bad actually. It's flawed and clearly suffered from not having a finalized game to work off of, but it's pretty underrated. It's got a lot of neat concepts, solid matches, and some great characters. It's definitely overhated by other Inazuma fans. I'll take these any day over the Go season. Less so Orion, but mainly because of the awful animation. Still though, with no game to cross-promote, it kinda fails as a cross-promotion. I imagine a lot of money was lost from the Aries project, and it makes for such an awkward entry too. Look at us though here with all the protagonists. You didn't have a game. The shitty gacha doesn't count. Not even Tenma would deserve to have this be his starring game. With all these big projects with games and anime and the kits and the caboodles, it begs the question of how much money are they spending? They aren't the biggest game company, and I can't imagine Yokai Watch Music Sign makes that much money. These dumb, pointless Inazuma recap / game demo cutscene compilation movies cannot have been selling tickets out the wazoo, and I know Megaton Musashi wasn't making waves. So with so much work and money down the drain, how are they gonna play all their employees? What if they use the robots? Level-5 is using generative AI tools in their upcoming game releases. Outside of outright cancellations, that's probably one of the worst pieces of news to hear. Generative AI tools like ChatGPT and all the art generation sites are a hot button issue because in most fields, they ruin everything they touch and are a plague to most creative industries and a blight on tech jobs everywhere. Everything AI touches gets worse off for it, and it exists to ruin all the things that I actually give a fart about. Level-5 fully backing AI, particularly generative AI, which is the super bad one, puts a frown on my face, I'm forced to admit. But what if I told you Level-5 already slipped AI by in one of their games? The title screen of Megaton Musashi was made by a human, but the concept for the framing and the pose was generated by an AI. And they got away with it because nobody bought this game. They sent it out to die with no marketing and no press outside their main channel, which you aren't gonna see if you aren't already following their games. The game came out in April 2024, but all the reviews came out months later because they probably didn't know that the game existed before it dropped. I do kinda get it though. It's inherently nicher overseas than their other games. Big mecha robot stuff isn't that big outside Japan. I don't see people clamoring for a new Demon X Machina. Nintendo opened an E3 with this once, remember that? There's another one? But still, Level-5 at least pretend to give a damn. Not a great start for your big new worldwide push. Even worse when the game has AI. But to be fair, this isn't the most egregious AI usage. Nor is this new information if you follow everything Level-5 does because you just need new Inazuma news now. I'm getting nothing! And to be fair again while I can, some of their other proposed AI usages aren't the worst things imaginable. In this image here, the crowd back here is AI. Haru and Ren, the main focal points, as well as the actual field and the rest, a human did that. The crowd wasn't a priority, it would just be filler if the artists were drawing it, just some shapes and lines. So it being AI, it's not that bad, but it is the work a human could have been paid for. Holy Horror Mansion isn't the first example of Level-5's pro AI stance, but by God it sure is the worst example. Just about every background shown in the trailer was generated by AI. I didn't notice this on first viewing, but after learning it's AI, it's so obvious going back. There's so many simple mistakes everywhere that only a machine could make. Backgrounds get warped when the effects pop up, and these utensils, I know it's a ghost game, are we sure it's not possessed? This is only a concept trailer, so for all I know, in a year, wait, this is level 5, in 4 years, they could put up a finished new trailer that has no AI and clear gameplay and it looks super fun. But this is the first showing of the game. You don't get a second chance to make a first impression. And whenever Holy Horror Mansion does show up again, a lot of people are probably just gonna write it off as that one game with AI. It's just a bad look overall. It's one thing to use AI for just touch-ups or streamlining tedious processes that no one wants to do manually, but using it for concepts, environment design, writing, it just gives us the air of not caring about the full product, just wanting to get games out the door. The AI uses are small now, but companies never go back when they start doing something new like this. Give them an inch, they'll take a mile. Kilometer. They're only using a little bit of AI now, but as they get more comfortable using it, who's to say they won't start using it more heavily? What if that Inazuma remake uses AI in some greater fashion? Don't give me more reasons to hate it. What does this mean for the future? Will a future late-in game generate puzzle concepts with AI? Will side quests in their future RPGs be written by ChatGPT? The last thing I'd ever want is for a future Yokai Watch game to have AI generated monster designs, or a future Inazuma game having AI generated scouts. It paints a dark cloud above people's thoughts for any future level 5 project and just harms their rep. Whenever this game shows back up, people are gonna write it off. The damage is done. Until people forget, we do have goldfish brains. It just sucks to see, because if there's one thing Level-5 has always been, it's creative. They always have wild concepts and fun ideas that were awesome even when they blew complete chunks. Even if they don't fully integrate AI into their future endeavors, it's already seeping into areas that clearly matter and could have been worked on better by a human being who gives a f and that could be paid and stuff. I don't know, it could be an overreaction, but none of their stances on AI fills me with anything but dread. If they don't give a full f to make the game, why should I give a full f about playing the game? Level 5 is a really head rub causing company, because even in these times when they seem on the precipice of a legendary comeback, they just have to do a bunch of frankly whack ass shit before they can make their first mark into the new era. I can see a timeline where they succeed massively with Fantasy Life, Inazuma 11, Professor Layton, and the rest of their projects. But holy hell, it's almost just as easy to see a timeline where they tumble over the weight of their own overambition, or they slide into a cesspool of slop due to their love of generative AI. It's like I'm seeing a friend get so close to greatness, but make some obvious fumbles that could send him careening down. Also, this friend punched me in the gut 10 times and shit in my cereal, but that's not important right now. He said in 2016 he's gonna give me a really cool present before he started decking me, and it's coming any day now. Any day. But I don't want to be all doom and gloom. Things aren't completely hopeless. Fantasy Life has a release date with like an actual concrete month and day. That's so rare for them. Victory Road, despite some worries here and there and over there and oh, here too, looks great. If there's one thing I've learned following Level 5 for years, they can trip over their asses doing the stupidest things a million times and still find a way to crawl back up. Though if this isn't out before the Switch 2 comes out, I might just for realsies crash out!